to a podcast about something where each week we dive deep into whatever it is we find interesting. I'm your host, Kalvin, and joining me while knocking on your front door and asking for candy, it's co-host Nick Richardson.
Trick or treat, give me some fucking candy.
Damn, get right to the point. That's what I like. None of this bullshit about rulers and apples, anything like that. No. Let's just get the candy in the bag.
Rulers? The fuck out of here.
That's what Mr. Feeney gave out.
Nope, not to me.
Mr. Feeney's a good dude. I will not have you disparage Mr. Feeney on this podcast.
I mean, how good can he be if he passes out rulers on Halloween, Calvin? Ask yourself that.
He taught those boys a lot of things. Taught me a lot of things also, Nick. That's where I learned everything I know, Mr. Feeney.
Mr. Feeney, more like Mr. Weenie.
Ooh, that's a deep cut joke from Boy Meets World. You probably didn't know it, but it is.
I fell on fire at that point. I thought I was killing it, and here you go. It's already established. I feel like a piece of shit, Calvin.
We're not talking about Boy Meets World today, despite them having some great Halloween episodes. We are actually talking about trick or treating.
Hell yeah. Get you in the mood for Halloween.
Yes, it is
Halloween.
Halloween
Even though it's
month.
going to be a weird time.
Yeah. It is going to be weird, but we're gonna sift through it. So let's start at the beginning. Where did trick-or-treating come from? Why is it commonplace to go to strangers' doors and ask them for candy and expect not to be murdered by them?
You know, it started a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Well, that's just not true.
Right. Well, this galaxy is actually a chain of islands, one specifically called Britain, Ireland, and Scotland, where, they do shit like this, and here in America, I feel like kids would have gotten yanked out of their pants and shit like that, but, over in England, they just go over there knocking on people's doors, ask for food in exchange for, reciting poetry or acting out a play as far back as the 16th century, which is a long time
I
ago.
had earlier than that, I think. Middle Ages.
That's what that...
I guess I don't really know when the Middle Ages are. Aren't Middle Ages 900 to 1300?
They're in the middle.
Of all the ages. Yeah.
Yes,
that's fair.
They're in the middle from now to then.
Are we still going to call in 4000? Are we still going to call the Middle Ages the Middle Ages? Because they're not in the middle anymore.
Yeah, they're the eighths.
Yeah.
The eighth ages.
It's a good question. Let us know on Twitter at APA something. At @alone_podcast. If you have thoughts on what they will call the Middle Ages in the year 4000.
It fucking sucked back then. So they were like, yeah, don't want anything to do with that.
They'll probably just go Dark Ages, right? Because that's the same thing.
Paganism. But yeah, that's what it was before it became a more established tradition, was these these bad people. They came up with these little, religions and festivals and stuff like that, specifically trying to appease fairies and spirits who came into the world with food and beverages, which is what every deity gets appeased with for some reason.
I mean, you can't blame them. Who doesn't just want food?
I mean, if you go through all the effort to cross, the boundaries of space and time, I'd want something to eat and drink. Just saying. Exactly. I might be a little parched.
I agree. I had that it started with the tradition of mumming, where just people are dressing up on just, I guess they had a holiday for it. It's not named in my Wikipedia research, but I didn't go that deep into it because I figured you would be. The trick-or-treating on Halloween may come from the belief that supernatural beings or souls of the dead roam the earth at this time and needed to be appeased. So there you go. Same thing you're saying there. Gotta give these dead fucking people some candy, apparently.
Don't take me. Just saying, but here is some candy.
I think they're trying to make the ghosts fat. That's why it's candy. It's not you're not giving them strawberries and shit. You're giving them candy, make the ghosts fat. It's harder for them to chase you and haunt you then.
Well, I mean, they're all, it's the Middle Ages, so they eat this stuff and they're dying at 32. So they're tight. We'll take these ghosts out for sure with this candy, this evil, non-Christian candy. But, yeah, I mean, it's weird. I found a lot of different stuff, but the most consensus thing I could find was it was part of a Celtic festival to mark the beginning of winter, and I don't really see what that has to do with dead people, but maybe a lot of people died. I'm guessing in Britain, it's cold and shitty out there. A lot of
people dying at the beginning of winter. So
here, fill up your ghost bellies before you go to the afterlife, and they're kind of ugly, so they wanted them to feel normal, feel good, so they started dressing up too.
Well, I don't know if you know this, Nick, but SV Petal suggests that they personify the old spirits of winter who demanded reward in exchange for good fortune. That is why people are dressing up as these spirits or souls of the dead. They're personifying the old spirits of winter. That's what Mr. SV Petal says. I don't know.
I don't see why the spirits of winter need, ghost face mask and stuff of that nature, but whatever.
I don't either, Nick. I'm not a middle-aged Celtic prankster, so it doesn't make sense to me.
Hoodlum.
Thank you. That's a good one.
That's some fucking hoodlum trying to give spirits food.
It's not my style. I live in the now.
I live in the here, not the year 4000, not the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
Fucking right now, bud.
Well, in the year 4000, this will technically be the Middle Ages. So that's kind of cool.
No, this will be the Dark Ages, Calvin.
Well, this year specifically will be it'll be the Voldemort of the Middle Ages, of what'll be the Middle Ages in 4000. It'll just be the year to not be named.
Yeah.
History books will have 2019 and then 2022. It's like, we're just going to skip those 2 years. They don't matter. Don't worry about it.
So what happened to...
Nothing of significance happened during those years.
Don't ever ask that question again.
So when did it actually become popular in Western culture? I mean,
Really?
I guess technically Britain and Ireland, that's technically Western culture, but modern Western culture.
They're like way more ancient than we are. So I
They're
wouldn't
still
they're like
deemed Western because they're not Eastern.
Because they're white. Middle
Basically.
culture.
Basically.
Yeah. Let me just break it down for you.
That's the line of demarcation there, yes.
It's because it's but here in the United States, which was obviously a colony of these Western folks, it really got going in the 1920s, which is, kind of interesting. Well, it kind of came to popularity in the 1920s, but, the Depression and shit like that kind of sucks.
Really hit a boom during World War II is what I have.
Right. Yeah, really got
before.
booming in early 1940 during sugar rations because these kids are like, sweet, I get fucking candy. It's a really special thing. And, I don't really see why they would give out candy if they're sugar rations. Just saying. We did some fucking weird shit during
Not
World
only
War
that, there was a lot of national attention given to trick-or-treating in October of 1947 because the children's magazines Jack and Jill and Children's Activities had special Halloween issues, and then there were also special Halloween episodes of radio programs at the time, the Baby Snooks Show in 1946, the Jack Benny Show, and the Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, both in 1948. So really around the late 40s, it started popping up in the media of the time, so that gave more people the idea that, hey, this is something we can do. It was also depicted in 1951 in the Peanuts comic strip. So there's some fun facts for you.
I saw a lot of that, and then I started getting pissed off because it's like, well, that's when, child labor laws really got going, and you really started having to take care of your kids, so they're just giving them a bunch of candy. Appease them, tell them to shut the fuck up, and there you go.
Well, and they're also letting them listen to these radio shows, apparently, and read these magazines. That's something.
Yeah. I hear if you listen to that backwards, the devil talks to you.
I'm sure. Absolutely. And then it was firmly established in pop culture by 1952 when Walt Disney portrayed it in the cartoon Trick or Treat, and Ozzie and Harriet were besieged by trick-or-treaters on an episode of their television show. So Walt Disney, yet again, bringing everything to the masses.
That makes it even more, horrible behind the scenes. Disney was not a good guy.
Well, yeah, he only wanted the nice, Christian white kids to get their candy, but that's okay.
That's why, yeah, I mean, it is Western culture.
But we have Walt Disney to thank for a lot of common pop culture, so.
That's true. I've been watching a shit ton of Disney movies this week. And Halloween movies, too. Been home with my kid. Watch Halloween Town.
I thought you were just going to say Halloween, full stop. Been home with my kid, watched Halloween. It's rough.
I mean, I am researching things for slasher.
Well, yeah, we got
movies.
slasher movies coming up next week, but you probably shouldn't watch Halloween with your kid, is what I'm getting at.
No, my mom did that with me, and it fucked me up.
No, I won't even show my kids Jurassic Park. Actually, that's not true. I did try and show my 2-year-old Jurassic Park when she was into dinosaurs for like that week and a half that she was into dinosaurs.
Yeah, I was hopeful. You know, my daughter picked up a dinosaur book the other day and then immediately threw it on the floor. I was real excited there for a second.
Nah, she had like a solid week and a half of like, no, dinosaurs are cool. Get me all the dinosaur toys. And then we watched Jurassic Park. She watched probably like the first 40 minutes and was kind of locked in on it. And then was checked out once shit started going awry.
Yeah, fuck this noise. That looks scary.
Do you feel, or is there any evidence that trick-or-treating has gotten more or less popular since the 1950s, let's say?
I'm gonna go with I think it has, man, because it.
I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you, but go ahead, state your case.
Well, here, let me finish. Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
I haven't said a word since like you wanted to speak, so like you're on now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm waiting.
I think it grew in popularity dramatically and kind of peaked. You know, I want to say it's waned quite a bit in the last like 5 to 7 years, but I think it was a big deal. I remember being a kid; it was just outrageous how many people were out.
Well, so is that the problem? Is when you were a kid, it seemed like a bigger deal because it was a big deal to you. And now that you're not a kid, it's not a big deal anymore. So you don't even notice the kids. And also, dude. I think communities have become more spread out and more, not homogenized, but like people either stay in their community or they go to the big rich community and try and get as much candy as possible.
That is like literally, that's what goes on around here a lot. Fuck, I did that as a teenager, but what I found is as a kid, I remember there being hundreds of kids just hundreds. And I mean, I didn't really live in a very good neighborhood when I was a kid, but it wasn't like
so that's why
terrible.
That's why I think it's changed. I think like when we were kids, which we're not quite contemporaries, especially when we were kids, but I think it stretches both of our childhoods. I think you kind of just went trick-or-treating where you were. So you would have whatever neighborhood you were in, everybody would be there. Like all the kids would be there. Now I think more people are trying to go to specific places to do their trick-or-treating.
Yeah, especially with like online chat rooms.
Yeah, you have more
the dopest spot to get candy.
Not communal, but like commutable trick-or-treating.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, when I was a kid, my dad would just like set me free. It was like, all right, bye.
Right, wherever you could. That was it. Because our parents weren't really with us. If they were distanced, right? And it was...
Or with other parents.
Right. And it was wherever you can walk, that's where you can trick-or-treat. So, but now it's not that anymore. Now it's, okay, we're going to get this group of kids, we're going to take them to this community, and they'll go there for a little while. And then I even know people who will go, all right, now we're going to go to another community and go there for a while. And the parents kind of stays with them while they walk around that community. So I think it's more supervised as well. But I read an article from theatlantic.com. I'll link it. And it says, according to the data from National Retail Federation's annual Halloween survey, the number of American adults who say they're planning to take kids trick-or-treating has hovered around 30% since 2005. Now, They don't differentiate between adults with children and adults that don't have children. So this is just random adults. So you're going to get a lot of people who don't have kids who are going to say, no, we're not going trick-or-treating, right?
Right.
But then there's a 2011 survey by the nonprofit Safe Kids Worldwide found that 73% of parents take their kids trick-or-treating. This is 2011, so it's 9 years ago. So your last 5 to 7 years may still hold, but this article was written in 2018. So 73% of parents take their kids trick-or-treating, so the tradition is still going strong. To me, I think that number sounds right. Just like knowing other parents and seeing other kids, 73%, 70% sounds like it's right. And I mean, usually trick-or-treating will tail off around 11 or 12 years old. So having younger kids right now, it still feels very lively, but in 5 years, it might not feel that way anymore.
I mean, that's a fantastic point.
And you're not see your daughter, she's not even 2 yet, right?
Correct.
So you go and you like pull her in the wagon to a couple houses, but it's all of you and your wife's volition. It's not hers, like saying, keep going, we got more houses, let's keep going, I need more candy. I think in another year or two, you'll see like it livens up a little bit later, and like there's more and more that keep coming out. That's kind of what we've noticed, because we'll take our kids for like the first hour, and then we sit and wait for other people to come to our house, and it's like we think it's dying down, and then there's all of a sudden this other surge like right around 8 o'clock.
Fucking boom skis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just my area, because I've lived 3 different spots within like a 5-mile radius,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife, the first time we were planning on passing out candy, we spent like $100 and had the neighbor kids come by. The next year we had nobody come by, and the third year, I mean, we had like maybe 2 or 3. But there's just like not very many kids. Maybe I'm just
that's
in an
what it
area
was
that's
like
not good.
where I lived when I was a kid. There were maybe 3 other kids on our road. My friend Danny, some other people, and we didn't get any trick-or-treaters at our house because all the houses were spread out. It was not conducive to trick-or-treating. We would walk up and down the road and do it, and like there's probably 10 houses around this one stretch. Maybe 3 of them would actually give us candy. So we would always have to commute to a different part of town that was a little more populated. And I think like the point of that article was trying to make was that trick-or-treating, the amount of trick-or-treating hasn't changed, just the way and the places kids are doing it has changed. So it's not everybody's always in every neighborhood. And have you heard of this new thing, trunk-or-treating? Have you experienced that at all yet?
I've heard
Where people
of
just
it.
like post up in a parking lot and hand out candy out of their trunks.
That's a little fucking weird to me. I don't know why, but I've heard of it. I'm not a fan.
I don't like it. My wife's work did it 2 years ago, I want to say. And we went, and they had like this kind of fall festival type thing. It wasn't quite that extravagant, but it was in their park. Like they've got a huge parking lot. And there were like 6 cars with candy in them. All the employees weren't supposed to bring it. They had like organizers that had their cars with the trunks open that you could go get candy from. But it just didn't. It does not have the same feel as like actual real trick or treating.
Well, yeah, because there's no decorations and no costumes.
I mean, they would decorate their cars and they decorated the parking lot and all that bullshit. But it just.
How the fuck do you decorate a parking lot? What do you?
I mean, they had tents, like they had like the pop-up tents with decorations hanging from
better.
them, and they had all the Halloween staples, food items, kind of things. It's
Eyeballs and bugs and fingers.
Yeah, not quite that far. It's just weird, like having this. All right, let's walk to these cars that you can see all of them, and it's not really like you're not really adventuring. It doesn't feel like trick or treating always seemed like an adventure. You're going out, you're knocking on strangers' doors. You could get kidnapped. Probably not, but like
you could though.
You could. There's
this,
as a 8-year-old, there's this sense of wonder and adventure in it that I think walking around a parking lot with 12 cars in it is not the same thing.
No,
it's not just about the candy. It's about like you have this little bit of individuality for the first time to walk from house to house while your parents stand at the end of the street where they can still kind of see you, but not really.
Right, and you're also wearing a costume of something you most likely really fucking enjoy. So it's like tight. I'm repping, and I'm getting candy, and I'm meeting tight people. Like most time, I love that people were like excited to see you. Like that's
see
what
you're dressed up as, yeah. Like
right.
Kind of figure out if you lived in a good neighborhood, like they would always try and figure out which kid it is every time behind the mask, and yeah.
Yeah, and now, I mean, it's just I don't know. We tried taking Arya to like 2 or 3 different houses. They basically like opened the door, looked at us, threw some candy in our bag, and like fucking slammed it right in our face.
Yeah. That's what I feel like my parents were like when I was a kid and there was nobody on our street. That random time that somebody would show up and knock on our door, it's like, just, all right, fine, get the hell out. We weren't expecting this.
Take the whole bowl and leave.
What is it? I think it's Big Daddy, where Adam Sandler takes his kid and like the guy's not prepared. He goes to his back door and breaks in. He's like, give us some DVDs, throw your watch in there, come on. Like that was my parents. We don't have any candy. What do you want?
Just broke the fuck in. I think of Parks and Rec, where he's like, oh, I got some cookie dough, some gummies, and Ron's like slips him a $5. It's October 10th.
So
Or like November 10th.
So let's talk about some of our memories. Do you have any good
Ooh.
and bad memories of overall Halloween trick-or-treating times? We'll talk about the candy and the costumes in a little bit, but these are more overall memories, I think.
Dude, I got one specifically for like my best memory.
I figured you would because you wrote the outline, and I figured, there was a reason you put it in there. Let's hear what you got.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna miss an opportunity to talk about my best Halloween opportunity.
How about we just get into it?
Okay, so best trick or treat memory that I got is I remember this dude being like vividly shit faced. Just he was
That's fair.
all
That
over the
happens on
place.
Halloween.
Oh man, he was fucking hammered, dressed up like Elvis, but I didn't really understand who the fuck Elvis was at the time. So it really, I don't know. He tried to do the impression and stuff like that. I really didn't get it, and it made me really uncomfortable. But then he's like, "Oh, here you go, kid," and hands me a 20. And he's just handing out 20s to fucking kids, like one after the other. It was tight. And as a kid, I was like 7 or 8. So, I mean, at that age, it's like, okay, this is like 5 packs of Pokemon cards.
Yeah. Faux show.
I think it was Yu-Gi-Oh! At that time.
I don't know. I didn't collect any of those things. But, yeah, a 20 spot on trick-or-treating would definitely be top tier.
That'd be so expensive.
Yeah. Like, who the hell is this guy that can give out 20 spots to all these kids?
Probably nobody.
Probably Jay Cutler.
If it was Jay Cutler, oh my god. Dude, that'd be fucking
Shout
hilarious.
out Jay Cutler.
I wore his shirt today.
Big fan of the show, Jay Cutler is.
I got a lot of fucking shitty stares around here, I tell you what.
So I don't know that I have a lot of like fond memories of trick-or-treating, or like not too many non-fond ones either. It was just kind of this thing that came and went every year. I definitely didn't get any $20 bills. I never just kind of went out with just my group of friends. It was always me, my brother, and my parents. We'd start with, like I said, the 5 houses on our street, and then we'd drive into one of the more populated neighborhoods, hit the road for about an hour, and head home. It wasn't ever it wasn't this big deal. It was just something we did. I do have one memory that kind of sticks out as bad, though. If I had to say I have a bad memory of trick or treat, you're gonna hold my head to the fire until I do it. It was I was 11 or 12, and it's kind of on the old side of the spectrum of when I should actually be out there or not. And I was just wearing this goofy skeleton costume with this huge skeleton mask, and it was a very shitty costume, very like last minute. I didn't really know if I was gonna go or not, and then just kind of bought something cheap and went out just to get some candy real quick.
A little low effort action.
Yeah, very low effort, very simple, very cheap. Probably got it from like the Dollar General or something. That
Get a whole
kind of low
costume
effort.
for $1.
Yeah. So I went to this one house where I knew the family, the McLeods. They had 3 kids. One was a year younger than me. One was my brother's age, so 2 years older than me. And then one was several years older. He was probably 16 or 17 at the time. So the oldest is the one handing out the candy there. And he asked who I was, and I just kept being like, I'm a skeleton. Because I didn't want to admit it was me because I was a little embarrassed to be out there, right? So I just kept going, I'm a skeleton, I'm a skeleton. And he kept asking. And I'm like, no, I'm just a generic skeleton. And he's like, no, you sound familiar. Who are you really? And like, I just didn't want to put it out there. I was just like, I'm a skeleton one more time, got my candy, and just fucking took off. And I never went trick-or-treating again. I don't know that I went to any more houses that night. It wasn't, I don't know that it was detrimental to my life, but it's just one of those things that kind of like randomly pops into your brain and you're embarrassed for yourself all over again. So like I'll just randomly think of that thing and be like, this dude probably didn't fucking care, but I cared that he might care at the time.
I had to go hide.
Yeah,
I know that feeling. Go hide every once in a
while. Heavy anxiety in my 11 or 12-year-old life of like, this kid that I barely ever talk to is going to think I'm a loser for trick-or-treating right now.
Yeah, it's like, God damn it, I was such a fucking boner.
Why would I do that? Do you have any bad memories, Nick?
I do, and as a kid, see, for me, Halloween was...
Did you go to the McLeod's house and you were wearing a goofy costume and you didn't want to admit who you were behind the mask? I get it.
Well, he kept asking me who the fuck I was, and I would tell him thinking I was clever. And he was just like, no, but for real, though, who are you? And then I drop kicked him in the nutsack and dipped out. and then I got an assault charge.
And then that dude gave you $20.
Yeah, I mean, he was shit-faced. So, I mean, he was like, Ty, man, you fucking dropkick me in that, skeleton costume? You're a fucking beast. And I was like, I know, homie. But anyway, for me, like, Halloween was such a big deal because I never got candy growing up. Like, my dad did not buy candy. Candy was Fig Newtons. I never got fucking candy. If I got candy, I had to use my lawn mowing money.
We didn't have a lot of candy, but like we had enough to sustain between trick or treats and Easters and things like that.
Man, that would have been sweet.
We were definitely never hurting for candy, I would say, but we also didn't get it. We probably didn't get it as much as my kids get it now, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I got candy on lock
Yeah,
because I like candy. I, as a kid, also subsequently, if you don't get much candy, you probably don't get much soda, and I revolted soda. I had this weird, like, irrational fear of it. And every year, this dickhead would hand out Diet Coke. Every fucking year, a can of it. And one year,
I want to be that guy. I want to be the guy on the block that hands out a random ass soda.
Yeah, it just rolls a
Diet
lukewarm.
Coke, just like Diet Cherry, sugar-free, vanilla Pepsi.
That's when someone will throw that shit through your front window. Fuck that, dude.
But you can't give it to like the 13-year-olds. You only got to give it to like the 8-year-olds.
His fucking booty. And every year though, he'd like give you the same look, like, this is all I got. Sorry, I didn't know it was coming. And he'd have like a whole case, and he'd just pull it straight from the case, lukewarm. Swear he'd give him a shake before he gave him to you, and then put him in the container. But I had one year, and it
Shout
exploded.
out to that guy.
Fuck that guy, man. Fuck that guy. He couldn't even give me Hawaiian Punch.
I want to meet him. He's gonna be my best
Where's my
friend.
Hawaiian Punch? He was a shit heel. Fuck that. His grass was always like a foot tall. And, there's just like bikes all over his fucking yard. They were like different shapes, different repairs. But, yeah, it exploded all over my candy, and I wouldn't touch a fucking bit of it.
That sucks. That sucks to lose the candy to the douchebag soda guy.
Well, I mean,
who's going to be my best friend someday.
I think back now, Calvin's fucking emulating himself after this Halloween. He's like, honey, I got a plan.
Honey, we're not going to buy candy this year.
Yeah.
We're just going to buy a case of the weirdest, most random soda we can find. And that's what we're going to hand out. Okay? Thanks.
Honey, go to Sam's and get me some diet, sugar-free Dr. Swirl. But my dad could have just, washed off the individually wrapped pieces of candy. Maybe. I don't know. Because, there wasn't any soda in there, but he was just like, yeah, I guess, fuck it, I guess. And he just threw it all away.
Nah, because that shit permeates. You can't leave, you'll have that weird soda taste on all your candy. I mean, as a kid, you were probably okay with that, but...
No, I fucking hated soda. Like, you have no idea
I understand,
how much
but,
soda.
I think you could have looked past that as a kid who doesn't get candy that often. You could have looked past that and been like, I just want my candy, it's fine. But, we had a piñata at my daughter's birthday. It was just her and her sister that were hitting it, but, whatever. And it had mostly fruity candy and then, some, of the little Hershey chocolate bars, or Hershey Kisses, something like that, just, little bits of chocolate. And we put it all in a bucket together after the piñata broke or whatever, and within 3 days, and it's probably just because of how hot it is in Florida, but within 3 days the chocolate already tasted had the fruity taste ingrained in it. So I don't know that your soda candy would have been that good.
This is Illinois though, dude. I mean, it's
That's
fucking...
true. You don't get that humidity pushing flavors up against each other all day.
Yeah, I can't have my chocolate tasting like fruit. That's just communist.
It's not a good taste at all.
I hate it. I hate it. I thought you were gonna tell me that your kids spilled soda somehow into the piñata when it was just those two hitting it. And in my head, I'm thinking, how quick did it? How much time passed before you looked at your wife and you're like, fucking really? There's two of them, and they managed to get kids, man.
Now that we're talking about candy, it's time to talk about our best and worst hauls. But first, we got to hit the Twitter because we put up a poll and we got to discuss it.
We got a fuck ton of responses. Yeah. Thank you guys.
Halloween's a big deal. People on Twitter like Halloween, I've noticed. That's kind of why I went all in on Halloween month this year.
Right. Halloween, they like candy.
Yep.
Costumes.
I've never kowtowed to the Halloween crowd in the past 3 years of this, but this year I was like, nah, fuck it, we're gonna go all in on Halloween. New Halloween episode every week. So.
And we just had such a fun October plan, so it's the way
We
it
got
goes.
Monster. We talked about the Monster Mash. It doesn't get any better than that.
Dude, that was a fun one too.
At APA something, there are Twitter polls, usually every week, for a chance to get a shout out on this prestigious show. This week we asked, what is the best Halloween candy to get when trick-or-treating? The options to choose from on the poll were candy corn, Reese's Cup full size, Sour Patch Kids, or other. Reese's Cup full size ran away with this, 65.5% of the vote. 171 votes, 65.5% said the Reese's Cup full size. Now, do you think that's because it was full size or because the Reese's Cup is just that good?
I think it's both.
Yeah.
And let me just say, Kalvin, I appreciate you so much more because you say Reese's and not Reese's.
Oh, no. Fuck those people.
Fucking hate that.
If you say Reese's, go take your vote back. We don't need it.
Oh, that's like the people that call soda pop or
that happens in your
sody.
neck of the woods.
Yeah, I mean,
those pop
people. Half my family that lives like 25 miles away, they just refer to shit way differently than me.
I've got a lot of family in
pop.
Wisconsin. I get the pop.
Tea is some brown.
Down here in Florida, we call it, everything's just Coke.
Okay,
doesn't matter. Every soda is Coke. Can I get a Coke? What kind? That's how it goes.
What kind of Coke? I'll take a Sprite.
No, you laugh, but no lie, I've had that conversation. I can remember vividly a specific instance where I've had that conversation. It was at my mom coached high school basketball and volleyball when I was a kid, so I was always at those games. I went to the concession stand to get a soda, and I was like, give me a Reese's and a Coke. And they're like, oh, what kind of Coke you want? And I was like, a Sprite. That was it, and they gave me a Sprite.
Right.
Like that's a legitimate conversation that happens in Florida.
See, here they would have just been like, all right, cool, and then thrown the drink in your face. It would have been like, ask for a Sprite then the first time.
They'll hand you the Coke, and you go, wait, this is Coke, I wanted Sprite. And they'll be like, you fucking dumbass, you asked for a Coke.
And
not in Florida.
And you'd be like, oh, all right, okay.
In second place, Sour Patch Kids with 14.6% of the vote. And I used Sour Patch Kids, but that was kind of a stand-in for all fruity candies. I needed a good example of one. And I thought Sour Patch Kids summed it up.
Good candy. That was like my college go-to. And I don't know what it was, but in college, man, I fucking put away pounds of Sour Patch Kids.
I'm not a big fan. My wife and my daughter like it. I don't like the sour candy. Like, just give me some Skittles, give me some Starburst. I'm good.
Doesn't like horror, doesn't like sour candy,
yeah.
Doesn't like spicy food.
I like some spicy food. I just can't be too spicy. Like a little.
Live on the edge, Kalvin. I'm not talking mild, man. I'm talking full
Wendy's spicy
Diablo.
chicken sandwich is perfect. Chick-fil-A spicy chicken sandwich, too spicy.
There's like a sprinkle of pepper on that, dude.
So good though.
You gotta live, little Kalvin.
Other came in third place with 12.9% of the votes, and candy corn came in dead last, where it should, with 7% of the votes. Fuck you, candy corn.
Yeah, I mean, fuck candy corn and fuck circus peanuts.
Yeah, somebody mentioned that. We're going to go into the comments here. Somebody mentioned circus peanuts, so we'll get into it when we get to it.
Someone's about to get gone in on.
I really only put, as I put Sour Patch Kids for stand-in for fruity candy, I put candy corn in there just for the sole purpose that I knew it would lose, and I wanted to watch it die.
You're fucking biased. Biased.
So, let's get some feedback here. Self Shoots from the Hip Podcast. That's Self Shoots. When he was a kid, Skittles was my go-to, he says. Good choice.
Yeah, good choice.
Skittles is fantastic.
Fucking love Skittles. Sour Skittles especially.
And in the piñata, we had... No, sour Skittles are garbage. Regular red Skittles.
Whoa, dog.
We had a bunch of packs of Skittles in there, so every once in a while...
Red Skittles?
Not just the red one, the red bag.
I was about to say...
The red bag.
Kalvin, first off, fuck Sour Skittles, and then and you dig on red Skittles? Oh my god.
No, just the red bag. Orange and purple are the best, obviously. They changed the flavor of green, and green tastes weird now. They changed it to... I think they changed it to apple from lime. Not a fan.
So socialist.
I think apple would be good if it wasn't lime before that. Like, if it was always apple, it would have been... All right, fine. Beckett Live presents at Beckett Live. He votes for the Skittles Fun Pack as well, but the sleeper candy is Circus Peanuts, so I'll let you ride here.
Fuck that. Circus Peanuts can eat my dick. But thank you for listening, and thank you for pitching in on the Twitter.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
But
very much so, but fuck those
Circus
orange.
Peanuts are gross.
They're gross.
I agree. Bring on the weird at Bring on the Weird. Candy corn is the devil's work, and I'll never think anything different. You're right. 100% right.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Got nothing on you. Shoot the Flick at Shoot the Flick. When you got Reese's Cups full size, you were in all your glory. Absolutely right. Anytime you got that full Reese's Cup instead of the mini Reese's Cup or the fucking bat or whatever, the single pack one Reese's Cup was the best thing you could get.
Variation I'm gonna say is the bat's pretty good. I think
we'll get into that.
Yeah,
I don't want to go that deep into it now.
All right,
I got notes on it for my actual talking points, so I don't want to step on my own toes yet. But I think you're wrong.
Either. All right, cool. I'm glad you finished with that.
Yeah. Richard at Richie Tom M. This is Richard from the VCR Kids. Check them out. They're a lot of fun. Full-size Reese's Cups were the jackpot. Also, I think that Lewis Black bit was the definitive statement regarding candy corn. I haven't heard this particular bit, but yes. I can imagine Lewis Black was ranting and raving about them.
The goddamn candy corn! That fucking guy.
The Rant with Herman James at Herman's Rants. At my house, Jello shots for the parent. I've got an issue here. You can't hand Jello shots to a parent. One, because you can't hand out open shit on Halloween. That's the first thing we were taught when we were kids. Don't take anything that's already open. Second of all, if I'm out with my kids and somebody hands me a Jello shot, even if it's somebody I know, so I know like they're not poisoning me, one of my neighbors, somebody I know, you know, they hand me a Jello shot and my kid sees that I have Jello, they're going to want that Jello.
Yeah, they're going to tackle your ass.
Yeah, I'm not going to get away with that Jello, or they're going to want their own thing of Jello. So if you're going to have an alcoholic Jello shot, you also need to have non-alcoholic Jello shots for the kids because they're going to want it. But also don't give open things to people. That's how you get poisoned.
Fucking words of wisdom from Kalvin. I mean, I wouldn't have never thought to have non-alcoholic Jello shots. But, I mean, I could just imagine me trying to take one and then my daughter scaling me and throwing herself on the ground and screaming.
And then just throwing a fit for the next 10 minutes because she didn't get any Jello.
Right.
That's what happens. So, Herman James, if you're listening, make sure you get the non-alcoholic Jello shots out there, and also don't give people open things. My wife, I always ask my wife before we record, like if she has any thing to add to our conversation about, and so I asked her about trick-or-treating. She said, once when I was like 13, this guy asked me if I wanted water, and he gave me a cup of sake instead. So, there you go. That goes along with this Jello shots guy.
I would have if I was her dad, I would have went and beat the shit out of that.
He probably wasn't there with her. She was probably just there with her friends. And most likely, they were probably not dressed as you. They probably weren't looking 13, if you know what I mean. Like, they were probably aging themselves up a little bit. So, dude giving them the alcohol might have thought they were cool. But
either way.
Still, like, also just don't give people alcohol. Randomly. Yeah. Who you don't know.
Don't do it.
Let's keep moving. Geeks Freaks Podcast at Geeks Freaks Pods. Love candy corn, but there's no way it wins. You are right. Because candy corn's gross.
Yeah.
Online Warriors Podcast at Online Warriors 1. Reese's hands down. I feel like this is just going to be like Reese's great, candy corn bad the whole way through.
I mean, Reese's is just so complex, man. You shut your goddamn mouth.
Take a knee for Marvel and DC at knee for Marvel vs. DC. Candy corn all day. Gross.
What?
Nick Amell from the 10ish podcast at the Nick Amell. He's got a gif of some guy with an oddly skinny arm with some Reese's. I'm confused what's going on there. Is that the sidekick host Brandon in that picture from 10ish podcast? I think it probably is.
He needs them Reese's to thicken up.
Shooting the shit at Bree and Nessa Pod. At Bree and Nessa Pod. Am I the only one that doesn't like Reese's? And then she just got a lot of responses that yes, she's the only one that doesn't like Reese's.
I think I responded to that one too.
You did. You got a nice John C. Reilly gif. saying
Yeah,
yes.
I did like that GIF. It's pretty
a
awesome. I used that twice today, actually.
Nice. There you go. Forza Crowd at Forza Crowd Pod. Reese's, again, another vote there. Fresh Geek Context at FGC Podcast. Reese's without a second thought. Boring Books for Bedtime Sleep Podcast at Boring Books Pod. Snickers or go home.
That's fair. That's a good round. That's a plan B.
So here's my thing with Snickers. Candy with peanuts is okay, but Snickers does not get the ratio right. There are too much peanuts to other content. Like the number of peanuts is too high for the number of other yummy stuff.
Dude, it's on point. Snickers are dynamite.
If you get the mini Snickers, then the ratio gets a little bit better. But the regular size Snickers, I can't do it.
That's literally all I eat is the mini Snickers. My wife gets me a bag pretty routinely.
I like to go for the mini Three Musketeers.
Dude,
No?
no Three Musketeers.
What about Milky Way? Can we agree on Milky Way? That's like halfway
No,
between Three
man.
Musketeers and Snickers.
Neither, dude. Milky Way and Three Musketeers are garbage.
All right, so just back to Reese's are the best.
That's fair. Yeah, okay.
I like your dress podcast at ILYD podcast. Ahem, a juice box? That's better than chips, or maybe I just used to sweat a lot while trick-or-treating. I'm very confused by this. I guess she wanted or I don't know if this is a she, but I like your dress, so I'm assuming it's a she. Sorry for assuming your gender. I know that's frowned upon these days, but this person liked a juice box because they were so hot whilst trick-or-treating. Is that what I'm getting?
I had some kid that was like, I'd prefer a juice box, and I'd be like, get the fuck off my porch.
Here's a warm Diet Coke.
Yeah.
I'll shake it up, get the fuck out. Drink that, you son of a bitch. Page Turners and Button Mashers podcast at Turn and Mash Pod, Mini Snickers, Underrated Podcast at underrated_pod, Butterfinger. I can do a Butterfinger every once in a while. They're too sticky though. They get stuck in your teeth too easy. That's my only issue with that. They taste delicious.
That's why you just, you life hack and you just have no teeth.
Okay. Dan is really done with everything at bland_dull_don't. Airheads.
Yeah.
I'm okay
all
with
right. Airheads are tight. Grape ones are the best. Watermelon.
The blue raspberry is good. The blue raspberry is never my top flavor, but in Airheads it's up there.
Ooh, no, blue raspberry is my top flavor in movie theater slushies.
It's a good slushy flavor. That's fair. Or you mix the blue raspberry with the red cherry and you make your purple. Yeah. Mediapath podcast at Mediapath Pod. The little yellow baggie of peanut M&Ms. That's fair. Peanut M&Ms are good.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Peanut M&Ms are fucking good.
A mini bag of peanut M&Ms for some reason is better than a normal size bag of peanut M&Ms.
Because that's much true. M&Ms. A mini bag is like a perfect
We went to
snack.
Sam's Club, not Sam's Club, the other one, Costco, a couple weeks ago, and like my kids had been on a M&M trip for a while. Like they've been eating a lot of M&Ms. We always do movie night where we put the M&Ms in the popcorn, that whole thing. So we got these two giant jugs of plain M&Ms and peanut M&Ms, and we're about halfway through the plain M&Ms. Because I just like grab a handful every once in a while, but like nobody eats M&Ms anymore, and those jugs are just gonna last forever now. Damn. It was a bad choice.
That sounds. I would like to live in your house.
Comedy Fusion Show at Comedy Fusion Show, full size Reese's Cups. Yep. Goosebumps at Did You Mean Goosebumps podcast at Goosebumps_pod. Full size Snickers. My hush hush unpopular answer though is full size Three Musketeers. That's right. Don't make that hush hush. Say that out loud. Three Musketeers is better than Snickers.
Dude, yo, we could fight right now.
Mind Over Matter Publications at MON Publications gives the final vote for Kit Kat.
Oh,
Kit Kat's
okay. Out of left field. I like that.
The mini Kit Kats are tough because they have a problem with the wafer to chocolate ratio too.
But they do, but
good
I tell you
normal size Kit Kat is solid.
The best Kit Kats I think I've ever had, and this is a recent addition, is the dark chocolate Kit Kats.
Ooh.
Fire, bro. Fire.
Thank you to everyone who participated in our poll. That's at APA something on Twitter and at alone_podcast on Twitter. Follow us there. You'll get a shout out if you comment on one of our polls. Let's talk about our best candy hauls. Nick, what was yours?
Dude,
Diet Coke.
mine was if you're a little younger listening to this, you may not remember that this was a thing, but Y2K was huge. Yes, Y2K was a big deal. My best haul was in the, October of 1999 when like everyone was passing out full size, like king size shit. I remember getting at least 15 like king size packs of Reese's, king size Butterfinger, Snickers. Like people went all fucking out.
Everybody's just trying to get rid of everything while they can. We're all gonna die. Get rid of our candy.
Yeah, here, look,
We need
I remember
space
this
for our
like,
cans of beans.
yeah, fucking, I need my rations of dried powdered eggs. But we had this house of programmers that it's actually still there. So it's like a house that 5 to 10 people live in, and there's literally in their living room, you can see through the front windows is just a bunch of computers, and all they do is like program and game and shit like that. Been that way for 25 years, but this year, or in 99, dude, they passed out the best fucking candy. I must have got at least 4 or 5 of the king size Reese's from them. Well, I mean, it reeks like dope, but whatever.
That's fine.
I'll take your candy.
Take your weed candy.
Give me your dope candy.
It was probably like they actually made edibles and then just wrapped it in wrappers.
That's why it was so good.
So I'm going to go back to my point on the last point we were talking about, and that every year was pretty much exactly the same. We had the same neighborhoods, same level of haul. Never had a great or bad haul necessarily. But I will go back to the poll now and say that the full-size Reese's Cups was always the best thing you could possibly get inside your bucket or bag. You would usually get more of the mini cups. People like to give those out more because you kind of take 3 or 4 of them. But the full size, you got the perfect peanut butter chocolate ratio.
Oh, heck yeah.
And this is where I'm coming back to this. Get the fuck out of here with your Reese's shapes. Your ghosts, your bats, your Easter eggs, Christmas trees, all of them, they're trash. Why do they have to ruin the most perfect candy? It's just a cup, peanut butter and chocolate.
It's the same thing. It's just shape, but with more peanut butter.
Yes, with more peanut butter. That's the problem. The ratio is wrong. It doesn't taste as good.
Whoa, Calvin. That's the problem? More peanut butter? That's the problem?
It doesn't taste the same. It's not as good. The
oh my God, it's way
original
better.
ratio is perfect. Why do you have to add more peanut butter? Also, on the other hand, don't add more chocolate either. It's perfect.
No, more chocolate fucks it up. That's why I don't like the minis, because it's too much chocolate.
I think the shapes have the opposite problem. It's too much peanut. They're too bulky. You ever had a Reese's Fast Break bar?
Yes, they're delicious.
They are delicious. But see, that I'm expecting the extra peanut butter.
See, I had a friend that was nicknamed Fast Break.
Shout out Fast Break. It's better than Shit Break.
Adam Fast Break. Yeah, that was like his go-to when he was shit-faced. He would be like, yeah, I need a fucking Fast Break, bro.
They were good. That's my road trip go-to. So I'll stop, gas station, grab a soda, and a Reese's Fast Break.
A Coke.
Yeah. Grab a Coke.
Reese's.
Whatever kind of Coke I want.
Fast Break.
I'm not the healthiest road trip snacker, but that's okay. Maybe some beef jerky in there.
I mean, I just fucking chain smoke during a road trip, so I can't talk.
Gross. It's bad for you. It's not good for the lungs. Shouldn't do it. This is my PSA about smoking. Do not smoke. Thank you. Do you have any weird moments, Nick? In candy hauling.
The guy that gave out 20s, after he gave out 20s, he started giving out Pokemon cards. And then after Pokemon cards, he switched to hot dogs. And it was lame as fuck.
I've heard of somebody else giving out hot dogs somewhere in my life. Maybe you and I have talked about it before, and that's where I heard about it. I'm pretty sure we've talked about it before. I've heard that story, like that instance of something happening before, and that's
I'm pretty sure it's me, because I've never talked to anyone else who's been given a fucking cold, hardly cooked, basically like microwaved hot dog and then put on a stale fucking piece of bread.
No, you gotta get the grill out there and really do it up.
No, he had the grill out there, but I swear to God, he just had those like fake candles in the bottom, so it looked like it was on fire, and he just left them out there. And he's like, yeah, they're really great.
The Glade scented candles in there.
Yeah, just a second, they'll be done.
Got a nice lavender flavor there for you.
Oh my God, dude, it was pretty weird. week, Dick, and it was just weird seeing him go from like all happy and stuff like that, handing out 20s, to still into it, but not
He probably started his
as
12-step program at that point, Nick.
right.
You gotta
And I
give
mean,
him a
handing out Pokemon cards, so he knew the drill. It was tight. Pokemon cards were dope, but then just hot dogs and him like slowly losing effort. And the first year that happened, when he just like, because he tried to like put it in my bucket first, and then I like pull it away, and then he just like tries to hand me a hot dog. And my dad's like, "It's okay, son. You can take the hot dog.
Take the hot dog.
Just take the
This guy's been
goddamn
through a
hot
lot
dog.
in the last year. Just
Take his fucking hot dog. Wipe off the tears, and let's roll." But that was one of my weirdest.
I have gotten fruit. And it's a weird thing to get. I didn't
What kind
get
of fruit,
it
though?
often, but like I've gotten an apple. I think I may have gotten like a caramel apple one time. Like they put the plastic wrap around it, Raisins. Just like why? What the fuck are you thinking giving somebody fruit?
Because raisins are nature's candy, Calvin.
Thank you, Chris Traeger.
Thank you for picking that up. God damn it.
I get it. But at the same time, like, just turn your lights off and don't answer the door if you're going to give me fruit. That is not what we're out here for, all right? And you know that.
Right, just leave them out in a bucket. If I feel like I'll get them, I'll get them.
Yeah. But my trick-or-treating days were at the height of the check all your candy for razor blade days.
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, and it just baffled me why anyone would think that fruit is a treat, first of all. Like, sure, fruit is delicious, as you said. Raisins are nature's candy, but again, I'm here for the candy. Just give me the candy.
I want the candy.
And also, I don't want to eat your unwrapped apple. We had a grape pasture farm on our road, a grape orchard. Is that what would you call a farm of grape trees? Vineyard, sure. That those
Farmer
people would sometimes
trees.
give people grapes. And it's like, I don't want your
grapes
grapes.
are expensive.
Like every once in a while, we'd go there and pick our own grapes. Don't give them to me on Halloween.
You can make your own grape juice.
You can make your own raisins.
That's true. You could make your own
Add some sugar,
raisins.
leave them outside. Boom, you got a raisin. Simple.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's move on to costumes, Nick.
Fucking costumes.
I'm going to start with my best costume because you've been going first in all these and I feel left out.
Hit me.
I was White Power Ranger one time.
Bro,
It was a knockoff White Power Ranger, but it was still awesome. Made me feel like Tommy. That's all that mattered.
I will post this picture. I know I've said it before that I would post it, but I will post a picture of me in my White Ranger costume.
Yeah, I think we talked about it probably on the Power Rangers 3-parter. Go back and check that out if you ever dressed as a Power Ranger. Probably the white one. I think probably white and green were the most popular costumes because they were the most intricate. You got the shield with it, and you got a weapon usually. So I think those were probably the go-tos.
Right? That was my shit. I mean, I'm even striking several cool poses. So there's that.
I'm good with it. Did you have any bad costumes?
I did, man. It was only bad after the 4th year that I wore it in a row, and
Started
the
to smell,
ninja
and you
costume.
never washed it in between. Yeah, I get it.
Right, yeah, it was way too small. So I mean, yeah, there's all it's just riding up your ass crack.
You're not so much
cool.
of a ninja when your pasty white
Squeaking.
ankles are hanging out the bottom the whole time.
Exactly. You're reflecting the moonlight, so everyone knows you're coming. And I mean, my dumbass had the bright idea one time at that 4th year. I was like, I'm not gonna wear shoes because I don't have any black shoes. So I walked around in black socks.
Oh, okay, at least you wear socks.
Oh my god, I was so fucking it was freezing that night, and I just remember my feet being so bloody because there was glass everywhere and shit. It was not a good time.
Nick, where the fuck did you live? Is it Gotham City?
Dude, I lived in the hood when I was a kid, and then I lived in
Just glass
the much
everywhere,
better
drunk guys handing out hot dogs.
hood. I lived
Bedlam.
next to a crack house next door for years. The guy paid me to mow his grass though, so I mean there was
There you
that.
go.
It was fucking tight. I remember finding like a one-hitter in the front yard of this dude's house and just taking it to my dad. Be like, "Hey, Dad, what's this?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's nothing.
Let's just
Nothing.
put that back.
Yeah, whatever."
So for me, it was the first of all the aforementioned skeleton, very cheap, not comfortable at all. Big weird styrofoam type. It was like the soft foam mask. You know, that
fuck
whole-
those. Those are
yeah.
hot.
Yeah, it wasn't. it didn't cover my whole head. It was like this big thing that went over my face and then just had like the rubber band, the elastic that went around the back of my head. So it was kind of open, but it was like huge. Like it should be on like Andre the Giant or something. It would have fit his face.
Extra big. It was stupid.
So there's that. And then also when I was like 3 or 4, my mom tried to dress me as Sting, the wrestler, not the singer.
Nice.
And I hated it.
Your mom sounds tight, dude. I'm just saying.
False. The muscle suit and the Zubaz pants, those were fine. But I did not want any part of having my face painted, because that's like Sting's thing, right? He's got the different face paint every week that he goes out there for a match. I sat there and cried through the entire thing. I don't remember the actual traumatizing event, but I remember seeing home videos of it. For some reason, this had to be captured on video of me crying for like 20 minutes getting this fucking face paint put on.
It's like, hey honey, watch this. Get the camera out.
Yeah, I don't know why we needed to keep that for all progeny, but I probably still have the home video. I could probably find that section of it and screenshot it and share it. I'll try and do that.
Yo, if you do, I will give you $5.
I don't care. I was 4. I'm not gonna be embarrassed. I'd be more embarrassed to find the picture of the goofy skeleton when I was 12 than when I was 4 crying because I didn't want my face painted.
That's fair.
So I have, because of that, I have very strong feelings against my daughters wearing costumes or parts of costumes that they don't want to, just like because of that experience. Like, so last year, my oldest daughter, she was Bo Peep from Toy Story 4. And there are like 15 parts to the costume. There's like the jumper, the cane, there's like a headband, like armbands, and I think maybe shoes.
Sounds like a pain in the ass.
They were all just kind of normal things. They were pretty easy, but she only wanted to wear 2. She wanted to wear the jumper and she wanted to have the cane. That's it. And my wife is trying to like force her into the rest of the things and just like, but we paid for the costume. You got, like, you want to look like Bo Peep. They're just going to think you're some person with a cane. Like, it's not going to make sense. And I'm just sitting there just like, just let her be. There's no reason to scar her for life over like this thing that should be fun.
Right. Just let her do it. She's a kid. She doesn't give a shit.
Also, 5-year-olds are not known for giving in on stuff like that. Once they set in their mind that I am not wearing the rest of this stuff, it's not going to happen. She's going to cry for the next hour, and you're going to give up. So why even start the fight? It's her fun day. Kid. Make sure she has fun. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was for, and crying and not to get the Sting makeup on. Apparently, nobody cared about that, but. Yeah, eventually she went out with just the 2 things she wanted and everything was fine.
I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Here's all the candy.
Is there any costume you wish you could have had but never had?
Fucking suit of Halo armor.
Oh, that would be good. Any real Power, because I had the knockoff White Ranger. Any real Power Ranger would have been cool for me.
Yeah,
I think that's all. I think in my childhood there were some good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle costumes because the movies were at their height. The cartoon was still on every day regardless. So there were some good potential Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles out there, but I think Power Rangers would have been top notch, like a real actual Power Ranger costume.
Yeah, like a cosplay level one.
Maybe not that heavy, but like one for like a 10-year-old.
I'm picking up what you're putting out.
Did you ever see any cool costumes out there?
Bruh, I went to GameStop one year on Halloween because they were doing a little candy give out. Mm-hmm. And there was a group of these 4 dudes, like total legit cosplay, dressed up like Spartans. It was when Halo 3 came out. So, I mean, they had like the hard plastic. It was painted like it was all battle scarred and shit. It was the tightest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. You know, lights on their helmets and stuff like that. Damn, it was tight.
That's nice. I'm going the same route you are. Any real Power Ranger costume always gets my vote for the best. What's the deal with the like inflatable T-Rexes?
I don't know. They're kind of funny.
We had, I don't think it was last year. I think, yeah, because we weren't here last year. We were on a Disney cruise for Halloween last year. I don't really, I think I have some notes on that we'll go over in a little bit. But 2 years ago, there was like a gaggle of these inflatable T-Rex. There was like 6 kids running around in them together. And I'm just like, that seems so stupid. But also, if I was a 10-year-old, I'd probably be totally into it.
All over that shit. You already know you would be.
So what's your house decorated like, Nick?
You know, it's decorated as much as my wife wants it to be. I don't decorate for shit. I'm really not one for decorating. Never was. My dad thought holidays were stupid. Uh, he'd give me like a card for my birthday and call it a day. And then so my wife is always been the one that likes to decorate, and she doesn't do a whole hell of a lot, but she does enough. You can definitely tell we're
Put a
celebrating.
little bit of effort in, yeah.
Yeah. I'd say she puts in like 65%.
That's solid. What about when you were a kid? Any decorations? I guess not. You said your dad hated holidays.
Fucking hated it, but I remember they I don't know if you heard about it was a pretty big deal around the Midwest, but this dude every year had like really controversial fucking decorations, and one year he had a black dude being hung in his front yard.
That's not a good idea.
No, it didn't help that he was white, and I mean it was like a national outcry, and I remember that was a big fucking deal because as a kid I remember walking by it and my dad just being like, that's really fucked up. I didn't really get it, but
yeah, you don't connect the dots.
Right, it was just scary.
Yeah,
pretty much to me. And my dad was fucking pissed, man.
That's fair.
I mean, that's the reason why I remember it fucking 20 years later almost.
I don't really recall many from my childhood of having like good decorations. I can't think like what's good out there. For now, I can tell you what my kid's favorite thing is. In our neighborhood, we were at the community playground. This was like 2 years ago one time, and it was right before Halloween. There was another family there, and the mom was asking us about dressing up and all that stuff. And so for anyone listening in 2020, in the olden days of 2018, strangers were generally allowed to talk to each other and be in somewhat close proximity of one another without the fear you'll catch a deadly virus, or worse, realize that you disagree politically. So that's the climate in 2018. It's like you could actually have a conversation with somebody at the same playground. So, we're talking, she's telling, and they told us which house was theirs and that they have this giant 20-foot spider in their front lawn. And to this day, my girls remember it. And every year, that's all they want to see is the big spider. They're also scared of it, and I'm pretty sure they don't live there anymore. But yeah, it's only like 1 block away, so it's an easy jaunt to get over there. But they like the 20-foot spider for some reason.
I don't know what it is. There's a neighbor like 3 blocks down the road. I've been home all week with my daughter, so we've been going for like 3-4 walks a day. And they have an animatronic cat that its head like swivels.
Mm-hmm. I saw those at Target.
Dude, it's pretty fucking cool, and she is just obsessed with it.
So my younger daughter doesn't like any toys that move on their own. So like when you push
Don't blame her, that's creepy.
Not move on completely on there. Even like you push a button to make it move. Like we had this Elmo that you push the button. She wanted it. She saw it in the store. She wanted it. As soon as she got it, this was her second birthday, I think. As soon as she got it, she pushed the button one time and was scared to death that it started dancing. Every toy like that, like she got same thing, a dinosaur that she wanted. It was like they're called for real pets or something. It's this green dinosaur that it can eat and it can walk a little bit. And she saw it in the store, she wanted it, but it's in a box, so she can't tell that it moves. As soon as we get it and turn it on, it starts moving. She's like, I'm scared. Like every time, she just can't stand anything that you push the button and it moves.
Just take out the batteries.
Well, yeah, we'll turn them off and she'll play with them.
Oh, okay.
But we always tell her, like, when we're in the store, we're like, that moves, right? And you usually don't like things. No, I like it. It's fine. I won't be scared every time.
Yeah. Are you sure you like it?
So we decorate a little bit. We've got like some tchotchkes inside that we put up. We do.
Okay, hold on. What's a tchotchke?
Just like little statue kind of things, like the little you don't know what a tchotchke is?
I don't. I've heard the phrase a bunch, but
it's just like a little decoration.
A pagan symbol?
Not necessarily. It could be for anything. Just Paganism. Like the little statues and things that people put in their houses anytime. Anyway, we've got like a few lights and stuff outside too that we have not put up yet because that's my job and I haven't done it yet.
I don't blame you. I don't do half of my jobs because I don't
Well, we
feel
were,
like
we
it.
were working on it last weekend, and I was all fired up for it. And the day that we were supposed to do it, it rained all day, and I had a really weird day. It was Sunday, I remember, because I was watching the football games, and I was just like could not care less about what was going on in the football games, and or like in our house whatsoever. We got to the end of the day, and I was helping the girls get their teeth brushed or something. And I'm like, "Are you gonna help?" To my wife, "Are you gonna help? You haven't done anything lately." And she's like, "Have you done anything all day?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think so. I just kind of sat there like a bump on the log all day." It was a very strange day. So
It sounds very strange.
that was my life last week.
Been there, done that.
So what is your experience with your kids now? Or your kid. Sorry, I have kids. You have kid.
Really not much, unfortunately. She's still pretty
Little
young.
young,
We
yeah.
did a little school thing, and that was about it. She was not into it. Did not give a shit.
Do they do the thing at the school where they do like the trick-or-treating at each classroom door? I've seen that before.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
but she's been really down with like watching. She watched. We turned on A Nightmare Before Christmas the other day.
I thought you were
Didn't
going
move a
Nightmare
fucking
on Elm
inch.
Street.
I mean,
You keep
Not yet.
leading into these almost horror movies and taking the left turn right at the end. Halloween Town.
A Nightmare.
Nightmare on
Christmas.
Christmas.
on Chrysler.
I tried to watch Nightmare Before Christmas with my older daughter, but my younger daughter was there too, and she was too scared. Like the opening credits, she was like, "No, we can't watch this. I'm already too scared." So we put
I
it
was
off, and
waiting
we just
for
never
it.
came back to it.
I was fucking waiting for it. Me and my wife literally looked at each other and like, all right, we'll see how long it takes before she's terrified. But she'll
I'm
let
not
you
a
know.
huge fan of it, anyways.
Oh, I love that movie.
She
And
saw it at the Red Box and picked it herself, and she's like, "Yeah, this one looks fun." I was like, "It's a little like creepy and scary," and she's like, "Yeah, it's fine, whatever." And we just never got around to watching it.
I'm like, well, that was the worst $3 I ever spent because I'm not going to take it back the very next day.
No, it's at least a 2-day return on the Red Box.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, Aria, she was down with it, man,
Nice.
which was surprising, but because she'll let you know her new favorite word is no.
Oh,
So
yeah.
if you turn something on TV she doesn't like, she will yell no at you, take the remote from you, and then try to put it back in your hand until you turn it on what she likes. No! It's like, chill, man. God.
Yeah, my favorite part is now that they're old enough is just kind of walking around with them and seeing how excited they get every time they go to a house. Like, it's the same candy, it's the same setup, but every time they're like, "Oh yeah, we got to go to this house." And if like somebody's not out yet on our first, because we go pretty early, if somebody's not out yet, they're like, "Yeah, we got to go back to that house." And then like on our way back, they're like, "Hey, we still didn't go to that house. We got to make sure we go to that house." Like they get very excited for the same thing over and over again. So that's fun for me to like go with them and see that. I don't really care for like the trick-or-treating, but it's fun to watch them having fun over it.
Right.
And like I said, they get candy and treats all the time, but for some reason it's always more exciting when it's strangers letting you grab it from a bucket.
Kids, man. Fucking kids. I don't get it.
And so in our neighborhood, everyone, we don't knock on doors. Everyone pretty much sits in their driveway, and like they've got their table with their bucket. And so like you just kind of walk up, you say trick or treat, and sometimes they'll hand it to you, or sometimes they'll just kind of point to the bucket and you grab it. But everybody's very friendly, and like that's just the way it works. If you're not out in your driveway, basically you're not open for business. So I like it when after we've done our walking around, we'll go back to our house and we'll set up our table and we'll sit there. And the kids usually sit outside with us, and they're in charge of handing out candy. And my she's 6 years old now. She just is forever trying to be an adult, and she takes the rules very seriously when she's handing out the candy. Like if a kid comes up and grabs two, no, she won't yell at the kid, but like if they come up and grab 2 pieces, she'll like turn and whisper to us. She'll be like, "That kid took more than 1 piece. That kid's wearing a scary costume. You said they were gonna be fun costumes." Like just always just like has no problem turning and whispering just complete shade at these kids. "I don't really like that girl's costume."
Like, yeah?
Yeah, she's dressed like Elsa, but her hair's brown instead of blonde. What the hell's her problem?
Just be all appalled, like, you blondest.
So yeah, that's fun. So where do you see trick-or-treating
That sounds
going
fun.
in the future as our world is ever changing, Nick?
Fucking dying, bro. It's
Think so?
not gonna happen anymore. It's gonna die. Me and my wife have been talking about it this year because we finally moved to like a neighborhood where people wave at each other, and like I said, I've been on going 4 walks a day, and I probably see 5 to 7 people wave at every single one of them. They always wave back. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to trick or treating in the neighborhood this year because people are familiar with my kid because she's waves at everybody and is like hi, and all that gooey bullshit. So we thought it'd be fun, and I don't see it happening. I don't see it being a thing anymore.
Yeah, so 2020 is the make or break year for it, right? We're still planning on going out and trying to stay distanced. We're in Florida, so mostly nobody gives a shit about the coronavirus, so I think people will be out there. Like I said, everybody's just sitting in their driveways anyways with a bucket. The biggest problem I have is like, okay, we don't know where that candy's been since it got in the bucket, or like what the other kids in the neighborhood all put their hands in that bucket as well. But you can kind of sanitize around that stuff a little bit. But we're not going to get in anyone's faces. We're not going like right into somebody's door. I think it'll be fine. And if it's not, we'll cut it short and come back. I think it can actually survive coronavirus. And if it can, it can survive anything. Like I said before,
reasons.
Well, so in the article I referenced before, I think getting candy is always going to be something that happens. It's not just going to go away. Kids are going to want candy. So your kid has never really experienced trick-or-treating yet. But kids who are 7 right now, who have gone trick-or-treating for the last 4 years, and they're 8 next year, they're not just going to be like, nah, trick-or-treating's dead. We didn't go last year. We're not going to go. Like, kids are going to go back out, right?
Right.
I think they're just, maybe we're going to find different ways to go about it. Maybe drone trick-or-treating will be a thing someday. Who knows?
I would not be fucking surprised.
I also expect kind of a huge resurgence next year because a lot of people are going to take it off this year, so everybody's going to have to make up for it next time. So
Walmart's
it's going to be even
cleared
bigger
out of
and
candy.
badder next year, I think.
Yeah, it's about to be righteous.
So I think the fallout from the boom of next year might be more dangerous than the fallout from coronavirus this year. Of like everybody's super excited for it next year because it didn't happen this year. And then everybody goes out and realizes, wait, this is still just kind of stupid. We're just walking around getting candy. And then they're like, why did we build this up so much for the past year?
I just spent $100 to give all this away. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I can eat this candy.
Exactly. Eat $100 worth of candy in one night instead of giving it away.
Yeah, I mean, fuck them kids.
Fuck them kids. Get diabetes.
Diabetes.
You'll be okay. You got anything else on trick-or-treating, Nick?
I don't. I'm looking forward to see if it actually survives.
We'll see.
I
We'll
hope
be
you're
back
right.
in 6 years to tell you whether trick-or-treating has survived.
Very specific. I
Mark
like
our
it.
words. Thank you to everyone who's listened. Again, check us out on Twitter at APA something @alone_podcast. Check out podcastaboutSomething.com for more cool content and weekly NFL picks. Did bad last week, but I've been doing good overall. So if you're a gambling person like I am, it's a good place to check out for some hot tips.
Yeah, check that shit out.
If I do say so myself. tpublic.com/APA something. Get some sweet merch. And all of our music is provided by those cats.
You gotta stay sassy.
Stay classy.
About to be